Several of the men of the church rush to lift Silas from the depths of his misery, but he refuses all hands and remains where he lay in the center of the road, beyond the reach of solace. The scene is too much for the congregation, too much for Bessie May. She several times breaks the grip of those who attempt to restrain her and throws herself bodily onto the mound of earth where her son lay. Finally, Pastor Jackson, through the urging of young Perkins' grandmother, the widow Hazel, and others, forces her from the scene. Young Perkins lagged behind the group, who escorts Bessie May back to the church there, to be transported in the wagon back to her home. As young Perkins walks, he reflects on how peaceful Jonah seemed, how pleasant the wondrous realm. Could he see them there suffering? Did he still hate Silas? Or did he laugh to see Silas suffering? Young Perkins' heart softens. He bore Silas no ill will. In fact, he was a bit proud of Silas for challenging the conjure woman. Silas, through his pain, found courage enough to challenge the conjure woman to her face, to confront her. He marveled at the way Silas laid before her, demanding she overshadow him. Why didn't she? Why didn't she? Surely she wasn't afraid. Was it that? No, it wasn't that. Old Granny Hagan was showing Silas mercy, a sadistic kind of mercy. She wanted him to suffer. In overshadowing him, she would have ended his life. Through some sort of tragedy, he would die, where now he must suffer the agonizing torment of life. She wanted Silas alive to suffer. She was evil incarnate, clever. Oh, how cunningly clever. Stealing that cane of hers wouldn't be as easy as he thought. After all that occurred that day, where was Mr. Pickman? He wasn't at the baptism, he wasn't at the funeral. Where was he? As the young man approached the church where the congregation is gathered, he sees his friend Kevin approaching. "Kevin," he says with excitement, "did you see?" Before young Perkins can finish his statement, Kevin interrupts. "Your Aunt Bessie May is having fits in there," pointing to the church where cries and shouts echoed from within. "What's wrong with her?" Young Perkins voices his concern. "I don't know," replies Kevin. "It's like she's going crazy or something." Young Perkins grabs Kevin by the shoulders. "Kevin, what happened the day of the baptism? I don't remember anything. I just remember the pastor picking me up. And then what?" Kevin impatiently inquires. "I think I died. I think I went to heaven because I thought I saw Jonah. At least I think I did." "Fool, don't ask me." Kevin angrily snaps back. "I was back there in the church cloakroom getting dressed. I heard shouting and hollering. I thought they were just happy that you got saved. Next thing I know, folks were hollering and shouting. They were raising such a ruckus, such a commotion I never heard. I didn't even get my shoes on good. My little sister came and told me that they found Jonah. She didn't say nothing about you. When I finally did get out there, Jonah was covered up, and most of the grown folks was taking Bessie May away. Doggone it, I didn't get to see nothing else, because my ma made me take my sisters home. Did you ask Aunt Hazel? No. I guess I'll ask her tonight." Young Perkins gazes at Kevin with a look that caused him to lean forward. "Have you seen Mr. Pickman lately?" Kevin tilts his head. A frown comes across his face as he ponders the question. "Mr. Pickman, you say?" "I can't say I did," shaking his head in the negative. "No, matter of fact, not at the baptism or the funeral." "What's today?" young Perkins asks. "Today's Tuesday," Kevin answers. "After they found Jonah that Sunday, Pastor Jackson announced that there wasn't going to be no school on Monday. They had to get Jonah's body ready for burial. No school today, because today is Jonah's funeral day. You know that. But no, now that you ask, no, I ain't seen Mr. Pickman. What you trying to say?" Young Perkins then looked deep into Kevin's eyes, into his soul. I don't think that our new teacher, Mr. Pickman, I got a funny feeling that he ain't human." Kevin stares blankly at young Perkins, wondering if his young friend was joking, or if he had simply gone mad. Kevin emitted a little chuckle. "Fool you crazy. Tomorrow's Wednesday, everybody's got to go to school then. I'm going to take a closer look at Mr. Pickman. I tell you if I think you're right or not." "Well, Will." Kevin's sister Trina rushes up to him. "Kevin," she shouts with a sense of urgency, "Mama wants you to take us home." "Dang," he replies by stomping his foot in agitation. "Why can't she take y'all back home? You know we too little. Mama don't want us walking down the road this time of evening. It'll be dark by the time we get back. Plus, she got to stay with the elders. They got to comfort Bessie May. They got to help her get herself calm enough to see she gets home. You seen the way she showed out at the funeral. Nobody want us walking these roads by ourselves because of that there conjurer woman." With her hand smartly on her hips, she glances at young Perkins and adds, "Oh, by the way, your grandma and Hazel don't think you should be by yourself, so you is to spend the night with us." With that, she gives a little snicker and remarks, "You and Kevin got to sleep in the same bed tonight." Trina begins laughing, just like boyfriend and girlfriend. Gathering behind the two young men for the trip home, the girls use the boys for their personal playthings, much to the young men's annoyance. Meanwhile, Kevin delivers angry oaths and commands of, "Come on now, quit playing," and the occasional, "Hurry up." His anger only acts as a source of amusement. The children laughingly ignore his every command. Young Perkins shakes his head and asks, "You mean to tell me we've got to watch them little devils, those hellions?" Kevin gives no reply. He merely gives a helpless shrug and proceeds at a brisk pace in the direction of home. All the while, his little sisters continue playing tag, playful shouts of, "You're it, and I got you, and no, you didn't," echoed down the road, up the pathway, and into their home. After entering, the young girls' playful antics only increase in scope and magnitude. Trina leaps onto Kevin's back and demands that he give her a piggyback ride. "Get off me," as he struggles to remove her simian-like frame from around his back and shoulders. His two other little sisters join in the fun and follow Trina's lead by leaping onto the back of young Perkins, demanding that the two submit to their playful demand. One shouts to the other, "Let's have a race," whereupon the girls begin smacking the young man's backside and yelling, "Yay-haw, giddy up," all to the cheerful, hysterical laughter of his other sisters who join in the fun. The young girls pile atop the two. Their weight brings young Perkins and Kevin to the floor, all tumbled down laughing hysterically, except for Kevin and his young companion. Kevin rises and rushes into the kitchen, leaving young Perkins beneath the pile of giggling young girls. Opening up the icebox containing previously prepared fried chicken and another bowl with potato salad, he loudly announces to his sisters to come and eat their dinner. With that, the cavalcade of confusion instantly ceases. Youthful ears perk up as the young girls race into the kitchen and begin snatching pieces of chicken from the bowl. Young Perkins, free of his encumbrance, rushes to aid Kevin by placing the plates on the table. He dishes out liberal portions of potato salad, whereupon the young girls begin to heartily consume the food placed before them. The dining is accompanied with snickering, cackles, giggles, and other such girlish banter. Relieved, Kevin takes small handfuls of chicken for the two young men as they sit on the front porch. There, they are free to eat in relative peace. The young men begin to discuss the events of the day. Kevin turns and looks at young Perkins with questioning eyes. He begins to speak, but decides to remain silent. He continues eating. Young Perkins notices Kevin's interest, begins to speak, but before he can voice a single syllable, an explosion of raucous discord erupts from within the home. "Wait here," Kevin orders. Shoving the last piece of chicken in his mouth, he angrily rushes into the home, slamming the door behind. Loud shouts and cries of, "I'm gonna tell Mama, and no you don't," echo forth. Moments later, Kevin bursts from the house, shouting for young Perkins to follow. Whereupon, the young man trails an angry friend. Kevin is absolutely livid, walking at a brisk pace in which young Perkins must trot in order to keep up with him. Kevin informed young Perkins that he is going back to the church to get his mother. He says that his little sisters wouldn't listen to a single word he says. He strongly expressed hopes that each and every one of those little hellions, as young Perkins calls them, would receive a sound and thorough spanking. Young Perkins struggles to keep up with his friend, who continues to emit angry groans and bitter curses, turning his head to the heavens, pleading, "Why me, Lord? Why did Mama have all girls? Why do I have to have so many sisters?"
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something really intense. It's just one chapter, Curse of the Mandrake, Chapter 13, Where is Mr. Pickman?
Yeah, and calling it just a chapter almost undersells it. It feels more like a pressure cooker of trauma, really. You see this community just hit absolute breaking point right after a tragedy.
Exactly. So this deep dive, our mission, if you like, is to kind of unpack how the narrative handles this breakdown. We're looking at what we're calling the three torments.
Right, we're tracking this shift. It starts with, number one, supernatural torment. Then it moves to number two, psychological torment. And then, interestingly, it lands on number three, mundane torment.
And the author, wow, they don't waste a single second setting the mood, do they? You're immediately dropped into this feeling of dread. There's that cold chill mention, the chiming bell in the distance, kind of mournful.
Yeah.
And then that sound that just screams pure, calculated evil approaching. The tap, tap, tap of the conjure woman's wooden walking stick.
Oh, that sound. It's designed to just stop your heart, isn't it? Even before she appears.
Totally. It's like fate marching towards you.
Yeah, it signifies inevitability, and bam, the scene just erupts straight into that first torment, the confrontation. You've got Silas, the grieving father, and Granny Hagen, the conjure woman.
And Silas is, well, he's a mess. Drunk, devastated about his son, Jonah.
Right.
But what's really interesting is how that grief just flips into confrontation. He's scared at first, but then it just explodes into, the text says, a fury of absolute rage.
Yeah, he breaks free from the guys holding him back.
Stumbles right up to her, accusing her, right? It was you killed my boy. Just raw anguish.
And then he does something really dramatic. He throws himself down in the dust
Sit down.
and challenges her. Here I am, overshadow me. He's basically begging for it, for a quick tragic end. He wants out of the pain.
And the crowd's reaction.
Oh, they're terrified, trying to pull him back, warn him off. They know what her shadow means.
The way he's described there, demanding that quick finish. But she gives him something much, much worse. Why does the author have her just coldly ignore the challenge. What's the effect?
Well, it cements her character, doesn't it? As the text calls her later, evil incarnate. She doesn't even flinch. She just steps around him like he's an obstacle on the path.
Making sure her shadow doesn't touch him.
Exactly. And then she just keeps walking, that cane tapping, getting fainter. And Silas is just left there, utterly broken.
Humiliated.
Completely clutching dirt, it says. Silent, but like gnawing the ground in anguished fits of helpless anger.
That image, gnawing the dirt, it's so primal, such a physical desperation. It's a necessary contrast to her, isn't it? To Granny Hagen's, cold intellectual evil.
Absolutely. His reaction is pure, uncontrolled grief. Hers is calculated, controlled, deeply intentional. And this is where young Perkins comes in with that really crucial insight.
Right. Perkins reflects on why she refused him.
Yeah. And it wasn't fear, he realizes. It wasn't weakness on her part.
It was because killing him quickly would have been too kind.
Precisely. Overshadowing him. That would have been the escape Silas actually wanted. She denies him that. She wants him to suffer, to endure the agonizing torment of life, just stewing in his misery.
Perkins calls it a sadistic kind of mercy.
It's a chilling definition of evil, prioritizing ongoing suffering over just, ending things. It paints her as incredibly, cunningly clever.
Wow. That really flips the power dynamic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
She's controlling not just life and death, but the actual quality of suffering.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears slightly. That's the supernatural torment. Now we move into the second one. The immediate psychological torment that just washes over everyone. Bessie May, Jonah's mother.
Oh, her reaction is just immediate, shattering trauma. The image is horrific. Her throwing herself onto the fresh grave, onto the mound of earth where her son is.
Having to be physically pulled away.
Right, Pastor Jackson, Widow Hazel, others. They have to restrain her, force her from the scene. And it's not just a momentary breakdown. The text tells us later, Kevin reports she's having fits, she's going crazy or something.
The trauma is literally breaking her mind.
Yes, actively destroying her sanity. And then there's young Perkins. He was right there, saw it all up close. And he's dealing with his own internal fallout.
He tells Kevin he can't remember anything.
Complete amnesia, blanked out the whole baptism day, the moment Jonah was found. All he remembers is the pastor picking him up afterward.
That's significant.
It's a huge psychological blackout. And it makes you question, how reliable is his memory now? He actually believes he died.
He saw heaven.
Yeah, he describes seeing Jonah in this wondrous realm, which, okay, maybe it's real within the story's logic, or maybe it's his mind creating a coping mechanism, a way to process something just too terrible.
A constructed reality to survive the horror?
Could be. We only really get Kevin's view of the event itself, and it's super fragmented.
Right, because he was just a kid stuck in the cloakroom getting changed.
Yeah, he hears shouting, thinks it's happy shouts at first, like Perkins got saved or something.
And realizes it's not happiness at all.
No, it's a massive ruckus, such a commotion, as he puts it. Chaos. He only finds out later from his sister what happened, that they found Jonah.
And the timeline just adds to that pressure cooker feel, right?
Yeah.
Sunday's the tragedy. Monday, no school, they're preparing the burial. This chat between the boys, it's Tuesday. Funeral day, also no school.
Exactly. These kids haven't had a moment to breathe. They are just soaked in grief and confusion.
And it's right then, at this peak of psychological stress, that Perkins drops another bombshell, a totally new threat. He asks Kevin about the new teacher, Mr. Pickman.
The absence. That's the first flag.
Kevin confirms that Pickman wasn't at the baptism on Sunday, and he wasn't at the funeral today, Tuesday.
Which, in a tight community like this, going through this kind of tragedy, that absence is loud. It's suspicious.
And then Perkins leans in, shares that really dark thought he's been having.
Yeah.
I got a funny feeling that he ain't human.
Whoa. Okay. So they're trading one fear, the known folk horror of the Conjure Woman, for something completely unknown, a potential monster wearing a teacher's face.
And the text connects those fears deliberately, doesn't it? Just before Perkins says this, they're talking about being scared to walk the roads alone.
Right. Nobody wants us walking these roads by ourselves because of that their conjurer woman.
Right.
And boom, the anxiety pivots straight to Pickman. It's like their world is just a series of threats, known and possibly unknown.
Kevin's reaction is pretty understandable.
Blank stare.
Totally. Wonders if Perkins is joking, or maybe if he's just gone mad, which, given the trauma and the amnesia, is not unreasonable.
Fair point.
But still, they agree. They need to investigate. Take a closer look at Mr. Pickman when school starts again tomorrow, Wednesday.
Okay, so the tension is building around this new mystery. But then the author makes this really unexpected turn.
Right. Instead of sticking with the potentially non-human teacher threat, the story just slams us back into the third torment, mundane torment.
It's almost whiplash, forced sleepovers and sibling drama.
It's such an abrupt shift. Trina, Kevin's sister, just shows up. Mandate from the grandmas. Perkins can't be alone tonight. He's staying with them.
And you just feel the exhaustion radiating off these boys. They've just been through a funeral. They're dealing with supernatural dread, psychological trauma.
And now this. Domestic chaos.
Mm.
Trina even teases them about sleeping in the same bed, just like boyfriend and girlfriend.
And then the little sisters just descend, using the boys as personal playthings.
Piggyback rides. Yeehaw, giddy up.
It sounds playful, but the description makes it feel almost like an assault. They collapse on the boys, pin them under a pile of giggling young girls.
And Kevin's description of trying to get Trina off him. Wow. He calls her frame simian-like.
Harsh.
Incredibly harsh. It shows how utterly frayed he is. He's so stressed, he's dehumanizing his own sister. He's reached his limit.
Yeah, the author's definitely using this everyday irritating conflict to make a point. Life doesn't pause for your existential crises, even right after a funeral.
They get that brief moment of peace, though, eating on the porch.
Fried chicken, potato salad, relative peace, the text calls it.
But it doesn't last long.
Nope. Immediately, raucous discord erupts from inside the house again.
And that's the final straw for Kevin. He's absolutely livid.
He just bolts.
Yeah, runs off to the church to fetch his mother, cursing his luck, basically. Why me, Lord? Why did Mama have all girls? Just wanting the little hellions to get a spanking.
So the chapter ends not on Pickman, not on the deep grief, but on this furious, fed-up domestic exhaustion.
It's quite a landing.
It is, and it ties back in a strange way. Granny Hagen's torment was forcing Silas into the agony of life of suffering. The sisters, in their own way, inflict an agonizing torment of daily life on Kevin. Relentless, annoying, unavoidable suffering.
So, wrapping up these three torments, we see these smaller, everyday tyrannies mirroring the bigger cosmic ones. You go from Granny Hagen operating on a scale of life, death, and eternal suffering to the psychological collapse within Bessie May and Perkins.
Right.
And then down to this grinding, relentless annoyance from Kevin's sisters.
Yeah, the big takeaway feels like it's about endurance. Silas wanted out, wanted death, but he's forced to endure suffering. Bessie May and Perkins are enduring through mental breakdown, perhaps, and Kevin. He's forced into endurance through just irritating, inescapable daily conflict.
So the author seems to be saying the human condition isn't about dodging the big evils, maybe. It's about surviving the constant pressure from all these levels at once.
Yeah, the supernatural, the psychological, and the mundane, all hitting you simultaneously.
It definitely makes you wonder about Mr. Pickman. When they finally confront whatever he is, are they going to be more resilient because of everything else? Or just too worn down to even fight back properly?
That's a great question. And here's something for you, the listener, to chew on. If Granny Hagen's ultimate cruelty was making Silas live through his pain, does this constant grinding battle against the sisters, the noise, the lack of peace, actually make the bigger threat seem almost preferable?
Like, is the daily agony worse than the potential grand tragedy?
Maybe. Does the struggle against the small stuff wear you down just as much, or even more, than the struggle against the big existential monsters?
Yes.
It's all a form of agonizing torment, just on different scales.
A really provocative thought to end on. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on Mr. Pickman and maybe on Trina's simian-like frame, too. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.